Multipolar Nano Particle Wire. What is it? It's something new that I've invented, and I believe it's going to be a new way that we can create electricity because it doesn't have any solid metals in it. There's no copper, there's no brass, there's no aluminum or gold or anything in it like that that creates back eddy currents. Because the wire we use today to try to create electricity has back eddy currents in it. What that is a reverse magnetic field. So when your motor is trying to create electricity, it fights against it and it puts a harder load on whatever it is that's trying to turn it in order to create the electricity. Well, with this wire, there's actually no back currents like that. So I'm going to do some experiments and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Stick with me and let's go through this. This is a metal detector. This is a typical wire, and you can see that it's made out of copper, and it's your typical wire that we use on today's type of circuits. Then here's the nano wire. There's no metal in it. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to show is the weight difference. This is typical copper wire. And you see it says 1.08. And this is my wire. 0.6. But now what about what I said about the eddy currents? With this wire, it doesn't create any kind of a back EMF. So therefore it does not create a magnetic field when electricity runs through it. So I have a 9-volt battery. And I've got it wrapped around the screwdriver. We're going to touch it to the poles of the 9-volt battery. And then if you watch, it does not pick up the nail. It does not create any electrical current to create this into an electromagnet. So that's what's different about this wire versus the copper wire. Okay, now we have the copper wire wrapped around the screwdriver. We'll apply a voltage to it from the 9-volt battery, same one. And you see it becomes a magnet. So it's kind of different than the nanowire. So now we're going to look at eddy currents. Eddy currents are a back EMF that when a piece of a magnet goes past something metal, such as brass, copper, anything like that that's non-ferrous, it creates a back current that prevents it from trying to go across it. And that's the problem we have with using copper wires to create electricity. Now here's a regular piece of metal going over, this is just a piece of metal going over a piece of brass. And you see how it goes. Now this is a magnet trying to go over that same piece of brass. Look at the difference in that. That's the back EMF. That's the problem we have. And the more current you try to put through a copper wire, the slower that goes, which means if you're trying to create electricity, that's going to put a hard load on your engine, and the more electricity you try to create, the more back EMF and the more load goes on your engine. So and that's the problem with regular copper wires, and that's why I've invented this wire, is so that we can create electricity without having that back EMF issue. So now we're going to compare conductivity. Now I've got two wires, one is copper and one is my nano wire. Okay, so and I've got the voltmeter set on ohms, and you can see. So, and you can hear the beep. Okay, so we're going to hook it to the copper wire, and you see we got continuity through there. Hook it through the nano wire, and the same thing. So this function acts just like copper wire. It is just like copper wire, but it's much lighter. There's no solid wires in it, and it works exactly like copper wire. It just doesn't have any back EMF in it. And now we're going to look at power generation. I've got the wire wrapped around the iron core, and I've got it hooked to voltage. So we're going to wave a magnet over it, and you can see that it does conduct electricity just like copper wire does. This is a magnet. See, it conducts electricity the same way the copper wire does. See? There it is. Okay, now I've got the copper wire wrapped around that same iron core, and we're going to do the exact same test and show you that it works the same way, and you get about the same readings that you do with the nanowire. So it works exactly the same, and it produces the same voltage. So that's pretty incredible. So that concludes our testing. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you.